Sure.
Just fixing some graveyard stew. Like some?
Maybe some tea.
White bread soaked in hot milk. I'm going backwards. I'll be in diapers soon.
I'll change him for you.
I'll remember that.
Is it a patient? Want to talk about him?
It's no one him. It's all of them. At a MASH outfit, you'd stuff a kid's insides back where they belonged and ship them right out. There was no follow-up. At the VA, it's all follow-up. Paraplegia, quadriplegia. One amputee said he got that way from too much I-pledge-allegia.
You didn't make them what they are, Sherm.
My old professor, Dr. Mizik, used to say, we don't give the patients their illness, son. You can't get that involved. He was so uninvolved you could drive a sports car through his ulcer. What's really incurable is the hospital. I've never been in a place buried so deep in bureaucratic cowplop. Why? Ants have colonies, armies. They build, they farm, they fetch, they carry, thousands and thousands of them. And all of that activity, all the organization, without one single piece of carbon paper, without one committee meeting, and not one ant wearing a three-piece suit.
What's this leading up to, dear?
Alligators.
Florida.
I want to see them wiggling around in their pre-wallet condition. I want to take a fish's temperature with a fat worm on a hook.
Everything you want to do is so slimy.
I want to take you to the beach. I want to lie by your side in the sand. I want to kiss you while I've still got a ghost of a pucker left.
When can we leave?
The thought of my retiring doesn't trouble you? You're not worried about having a cranky old man on your hands?
I've managed this long, haven't I?
Anesthetist on duty to OR. Anesthetist on duty to OR.
You just sign these here forms right here, sir.
Take it easy, Klinger. My farina hasn't settled yet.
Oh.
Where does the blue line lead, besides up his leg?
To the yellow one. That's where we keep the munchkins. Sir, you're doing surgery this morning, and Elma Cox, star of Stage Screen and Venom, wants these first thing.
Alma sucks eggs.
By the dozen.
Good morning, Colonel.
That remains to be seen.
As long as you're signing, I'm collecting your signature daily for the monthly reports so they don't pile up weekly. Here, here, and here. It's out of ink.
Does that mean I can go home now?
You just got here.
What better reason to leave?
Don't forget these, Colonel.
Thank you, nurse.
See you, sir.
Maybe.
Morning, Sarge.
Oh, morning, Bob.
Therapy's taking a bunch of us out on the river later. Gonna do some fishing. Any chance you coming along?
Oh, afraid not, Bob.
I'll catch one for you.
A big one.
Hope they don't pull me out of the boat.
Colonel Potter. Perfect.
Morning, Mike.
Colonel, I'd like you to meet Leon Gronich and his friends Seymour Brown and Dickie Spaulding. Did I get that right, boys?
No, sir.
Leon here's father's Congressman Gronich of the 5th District, whose double hernia we had the singular privilege of correcting.
I'm afraid your father's groin was before my time.
Should have brought your autograph books, boys. Colonel Potter's a 3-war man. He was in Korea, WW1, and Ditto 2. You're looking at a genuine hero.
The bravest thing I ever did in the Army was show up for meals. If you're looking for real heroes, the wards are full of them.
That's just what I'm doing, Colonel, showing these future Dr. Kildares around. Maybe we can lunch it up later.
Lunchtime, I have to be in 2 different places at the same time. That I can usually do. Getting to 3 is a little harder. Boys, Mike?
Okay, fellas, what say we hop over to the limb shop?
Good morning, sir.
Dr. Pfeiffer?
Have you seen this issue of the medical journal?
When you run a hospital, the last thing you've got time for is medicine.
There's a tremendous article in here on the use of vein grafts to repair arterial lesions on acute traumatic injuries of the thigh.
How old are you, Pfeiffer?
27.
I wish I was 27 and 6'4" again.
Sir, have you got a minute?
I had a minute last month. I put it down somewhere. I'll be damned if someone didn't walk off with it.
I kind of need to talk.
Time for OR, sir.
Right. My Lebanese alarm clock. We can talk in there.
Yes, sir. It's really kind of important.
VFW representative, please contact admitting. Will the VFW representative please
When do you
contact
expect the
admitting?
happy event?
Next month, Father.
You have others, Mrs. Warner?
2 girls.
This will be our first boy.
Never can tell. I think my own parents were hoping for a girl, hence my name, Francis. I suppose, had I been a she instead of me, I'd become a nun. In which case, my folks would have had a sister for a daughter instead of a father for a son.
I appreciate you giving me your time, Father.
Are you comfortable?
He's going in for a test. He's been feeling something awful. They don't know what it is.
In case anything goes wrong in there, you want to forgive me now?
I'll do my part. God will do the forgiving. That's his profession.
Thank you, Father.
You ready, Doctor?
All set.
Try not to act as though the patient is an 8-course meal.
This is better.
Look alive, nurse. Residents have a tendency to cut into anything that doesn't move.
Yes, Colonel.
All right. X marks the spot.
Just at the iliac crest.
Just at the iliac crest.
Knife, number 10 blade.
Number 10 blade.
Right this way, boys. It's me, Colonel, Mike D'Angelo. Bet you thought it was a stick-up, huh?
Hold it.
We're not interrupting, are we? You in the middle of anybody?
You sure you want these boys to observe this?
I was told it's nothing too gooey.
Dr. Pfeiffer is about to perform an open bone marrow biopsy. This patient's blood count has shown some abnormalities. Yesterday, we took a sample of blood cells from his chest, but we couldn't get enough of them to test. So now we're going to make a small incision in his hip, take out some marrow, send it to the lab, so that we might more accurately diagnose his problem.
Sir,
Yes, Leon.
how will you get down to the marrow?
We use a small mallet and a chisel to chip away at the bone.
Sir, about that minute you're going to give me, would now be a good time?
I'm here. Grab it while you can.
Well, what it comes down to is about maybe leaving.
Leaving the hospital?
Yes, sir.
Is it D'Angelo? Say the word and I'll perform a horse's assectomy on him, and you can hold the reins.
Oh, that's not it. Do you know Dr. Brill in Riverbend?
Jerry Brill? Went to med school together. Good man. Timing's not too hot. He proposed to Mildred 10 minutes after I did.
Well, this is from him.
Oh? $20,000 a year to start.
$20,000. You know what would be nice? A steak. A big steak. A 3-bedroom steak you could just move in and eat your way out of.
Person could do an awful lot with 20 grand.
Oh, what about travel? All that coming and going to the bank just so you could look at the money?
I gather you've thought this all through.
Well, not much to think about. Dr. Brill's got tired hands. So I would do his night calls and share the office load until he retires. Then he'd turn over his entire practice, all his equipment, furniture, and all the National Geographics with the tops of the naked ladies torn out.
You know, if you don't finish 3 years of general surgical residency, you won't be board certified.
I know.
You might be making 10 times the money you're making here at the VA, but some people will never feel that you're really fully qualified.
Colonel, you trying to talk me out of it?
I guess you could say that.
Well, it's too late. I've already done that myself.
I don't get it.
I'm staying. The experience here is invaluable in terms of practice and research. I mean, it's sad, but it's true. Wars really advance the cause of medicine.
Morticians love them, too.
And then there's you, sir.
Speaking of morticians,
Working with you is a tremendous learning experience. I'd be happy to become half the doctor you are. I hope that doesn't embarrass you.
only half as much as you think it does. When you get a compliment every 20 years or so, they're not too hard to take. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Doctor.
Nursing supervisor to
Pass me the glue.
Dope.
I'm doing the best I can.
The glue is called dope.
Oh, imagine that.
Father, seen Dr. Pfeiffer?
Behind that screen, I believe.
Dr. Pfeiffer?
Just a sec. You've got to cooperate, sir. Do your best. Nobody likes to use a bedpan, especially if you're afraid of heights. What's this?
The lab report on Warner, the bone marrow biopsy. You're not going to like it. Neither is he.
Damn. Leukemia.
Americans tell me that my head is high because I will not take it up to kiss a guy. But if I ever got to take it off, I do that one for Johnny Smith, and he is very happy with the lady. And they do the pretty hat.
Boy, that lady'd make a great dessert.
Going to the polls with enthusiasm, the populace of our sister republic, the Philippine Islands, overwhelmingly selects Raymond Magsaysay to be their next president. And he's friendly to the U.S. 2,100 troops from many different units advanced to within 3,000 feet of a point beneath the blast. Nearer than any other unprotected humans, with the exception of the Japanese at Hiroshima and Nagasaki. History in the making. Watch closely for its fleeting moment.
Man, that's really something.
You can't really tell in black and white. First there's this real bright light, and then there's like a shock wave. Then the fireball with every color you ever saw. And then finally the mushroom. You can't believe how beautiful it is.
You been at one of these tests?
I've been at 6 of them. All on Inuitak. Except for getting a mouthful of dust. It's really something to tell your kids about.
Of the atomic age. Behold, the grim visage of future war.
How do you know who to send Christmas cards to?
Well, there's the people you love.
My grandma.
My grandma. And there's friends that you miss.
How about new friends?
Sure. That's especially nice.
I have someone I want to send a Christmas card to, okay? Okay.
This Christmas, the people you love would love to hear from you. Don't forget them. Give Hallmark Christmas cards when you care enough to send the very best.
Dr. Pfeiffer to Mr. Klinger's office, please. Dr. Pfeiffer to Mr. Klinger.
Excuse me.
26998. We have 23 tabs.
Don't send for any shovels. I'm just resting.
No, sir. Colonel Potter's not in his office right now. He's in a meeting with the Committee on Committees, which is meeting all this week to see if they can cut down on the number of meetings. Tom?
More?
A ton. I'll certainly have him return your call the minute he gets a second.
Tremendous. You're a genius. How'd you get all this?
Personality. I spread it over people like a tent, which incidentally my forefathers were famous makers of. Oh, from Washington, from the, what do you call it, the tumor registry.
It would be the lumpy one.
Is that other stuff I got useful?
Terrific. 2nd Marine Division, 6th Regiment, assigned to duty in Nagasaki, September 23rd, 1945. Patient stayed in area 3 months participating in cleanup detail, picking up the pieces.
How do you glue a city back together again?
In October 1945, that's 2 months after the bomb dropped, metal beams uncovered in wreckage were still hot to the touch. My God, the amount of radiation they must have ingested.
To ingest being the act of what?
Inhaling, swallowing the radioactive water, the dust. And they kept this guy stationed there for 3 months.
You were never in the service, were you, Doc?
I was too young.
No one's old enough. You go where they tell you, you do what they say. They say jump, you jump. Sometimes if a shell lands close enough, you jump on your own. You don't like it, too bad. It's not like you can quit and join the army across the street. The whole idea is to teach you to take orders without thinking, without asking. So if they tell you, you'll get into a fist fight with a tank.
You must have loved it.
Love it? Are you kidding? I wanted to get out the minute I got in. In basic training, I wet my bunk every night for a week. Didn't work for me, but the guy below me got out for pneumonia. And then, and don't let this get around, to get a Section 8, I used to wear dresses. Brassieres, garter belts, the whole thing.
I don't believe it.
They didn't either, except for one captain who wanted me to have his baby.
I'll bring this stuff back.
Hello?
Garter belts, huh?
Never with sportswear. Colonel Potter's office.
I've spoken with Dr. Pfeiffer, Joe. He told me what your tests show. I want you to know you're going to get the finest care possible.
Actually, there's really no need to be worried. The Army has taken all of the necessary precautions to make sure that we're perfectly safe here.
Have you ever been out on a test shot, sir?
Have I what?
I've had many opportunities to see a number of atomic tests. I feel that as a chaplain, it's my responsibility to be with my men.
What's it like?
First, one sees a very, very bright light, followed by a shock wave. And then you hear the sound of the blast, and then it seems as though there was a minor earthquake. And then you look up and see the fireball as it ascends up into the heavens. It contains all of the colors of the rainbow. And as it rises up into the atmosphere, it turns a beautiful pale yellow. And then it assembles into a mushroom. It's a wonderful sight to behold.
Liar.
What's that?
You all lied. And now I'm going to die. Just for doing what I was told. Why is that, Father? Why?
This report is unacceptable, Colonel Potter. It is unacceptable, unadmissible, and definitely unappreciated.
Ye gods, are we going to start talking in triplicate around here?
You've seen Dr. Pfeiffer's comments on this patient,
Joe Warner.
Wait a minute. Joe Warner.
I've seen them, yes.
It's Pfeiffer's opinion that Warner's leukemia is service-connected due to his presence at so many A-bomb tests. If that were the case, Warner would eventually be entitled to 100% disability, as his condition, which I see here is terminal, gradually worsens to his ultimate demise.
Which death would entitle him to 110%, I imagine.
I'm serious about this.
So am I. You're talking about nickels and dimes. This poor bastard is being eaten alive by cancer. What's all the frustration? You think this patient is faking leukemia? You think he's sneaking in at night and erasing the bone marrow from his x-rays?
I want the man to get everything he's got coming. But service-connected? That's another can of worms. If Warner had contracted leukemia during the service, it would have been in his record.
A bullet lets you know it's there a lot faster than cancer, Mike.
The VA could be plagued with cases like this. Vets claiming disability merely because they were at test sites.
Well, who else is supposed to deal with it?
Sherm, you know as well as I do, people were getting leukemia, anemia, bohemia for all I know, long before these tests began going off. The U.S. Treasury starts handing out money on this basis, we'll unleash the floodgates. Fair's fair. We can't turn the atomic bomb into a free lunch.
Nicely put.
At any rate, there's just no basis for it. Government studies have definitely proved that there's only a very, 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 very tiny amount of low-level radiation in weapons testing.
Pfeiffer quotes a study that says no exposure to radiation is so small that it doesn't carry some corresponding mutational risks. If that's so, he feels Warner's unborn baby might even be affected.
God almighty, Sherm. We've got enough problems with this case. Don't hit me with a fetus. Who prepared this study?
Group of scientists.
And they're saying the government's lying?
Not at all. They simply have a different opinion.
Scientists have opinions. The government has facts.
Which are based on the opinions of scientists.
Not these scientists. These are the sob sisters and sore losers who didn't want us to have the A-bomb or the H-bomb, and now there's one parked in every garage in the Kremlin. These are the vinegar pussies who are ticked off because they can't get a government grant to sit in their ivory towers and study the effects of moonbeams on guinea pigs in heat.
You're making a mockery out of an honest disagreement.
Colonel, this I believe. No American soldier would ever be exposed to deadly risk without being fully informed of the dangers involved. I feel that as strongly as I do the exact opposite. that the objectives of an unfettered military must take preference over the rights of any individual.
Even if it kills him.
If that's what's best for him. That is, in terms of the country for which he stood.
Florida must be lovely this time of year.
You can't wear every case like a shroud, Colonel. Warner will get everything he's got coming to him. Despite our critics and all the sharpshooters, believe me, the VA knows what it's doing.
Potter's office, please.
Someone calling my name in vain?
My office. I should have been home half an hour ago.
One of us is very unhappy.
So far.
Come on, give me a hint. Is it animal, vegetable, or resident? D'Angelo's overriding my recommendation.
There is not enough data either way. It'll take years.
Warner hasn't got years.
You didn't give him this illness, son.
He doesn't need a doctor. He needs a lawyer.
She finally left me for her first love. He's been on the ground for 10 years, but at least he's never late. Forget about a lawyer. The law says a lawyer can accept only $10 for representing a vet before the VA. A $10 lawyer couldn't have gotten Adolf Hitler off for double parking in downtown Berlin.
So Warner's dead even before he's dead.
A $1 jillion lawyer couldn't help him. There is no way to challenge a VA decision in a court of law.
Does the U.S. government know about the VA? Do we have relations? Do we exchange ambassadors?
Sorry, Gene. Right now, I'm on another duty. I'll see you in the morning.
I'm not so sure.
Pardon me?
I don't know. Dr. Brill's offer is starting to look better and better to me.
Oh?
What is the point in doing your best and losing like this?
Since when did doing your best mean winning? Who the hell wins all the time? If everyone was a winner, who'd ever learn to be a good sport?
I want to be able to make a difference.
You want a good steak. That's what you want. And a flock of chicken pox and measles for a change. And maybe the occasional glimpse of pink undies instead of ratty old skivvies. You want to make a difference? Stay here and help Joe Warner. That young man's miseries have just started. If you believe in your findings, there are going to be more and more Joe Warners, and they'll all be knocking on the VA door. You're not going to be much help to them on the 18th hole somewhere. Harry Truman says, if you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. For whatever it's worth, I'm in the kitchen beside you, all the way.
Yes, sir.
Knock, knock.
Oh, Mildred, I'm ready.
This'll save us time getting over to the Callens.
Good evening, Mrs. Potter.
Good evening, Dr. Pfeiffer.
I was really loaded up today. Truth is, I'm not even finished yet.
Well, you can come back after dinner if you like.
Oh, that'd be a big help.
This'll be the third night this week he's put in at the hospital.
He must like it.
You wouldn't think so. All he ever talks about is quitting here.
Oh?
Something wrong, young man?
Oh, no. It's just that you look a little silly.
That's better.
Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Bob?
Oh, finally going home, Sarge?
Yep. What are you doing up so late?
Day or night's pretty much the same around here.
You feel all right?
Oh, not in 35 years. If I ever started to feeling good, it'd scare the hell out of me.
You okay?
Damn mustard gas. Thank God soldiers today don't have to breathe in anything that'll eat their insides out.
Yeah, thank God.
Like the new lines they painted?
Supposed to be a help.
Yeah, only now I can't find the way back to my room. Good night, Sarge.
Tuesday, a woman is dead. Her former lover's accused.
You had blood and scratches on your face.
And when Ben uncovers the truth, the real killer vows to murder him on the Mississippi.
Now
Also stay tuned as a winter snowstorm has Stephanie stranded and logging time in a cabin with Larry, Darrell, and Daryl on Newhart. Next.